We're talking about how to rise above the chaos and stay sane while the world is going off the rails. So, welcome, you guys. Say hello. I feel like my world is going off the rails right now with tech issues. Um, Before we begin, a few people, some of you signed up to get the summary. I did create a PDF summary, right? It is nuts. Oh my God. I created a PDF summary. If you signed up for that, for the registration, like you registered for reminders and whatnot, you will get the PDF automatically sent to you in email when this is over tonight. So just so you know, it will go out to you. I have to make another couple of adjustments. And again, like it's been nutso. Like it's been nuts, crazy nuts. And I am trying everything I have not to lose it on my equipment right now. This always goes wrong whenever I try to multi-stream platform. Hi, Brenda. Welcome in. So, yeah. But yes, tonight we are going to talk about it. How to rise above the chaos, stay sane, stable, and strong while the world's going off the rails, which it is right now, right? It totally feels wonky and beyond belief. But if you are here, we've got a few over on YouTube. So very cool. So you guys will be able to access the replay, but only for a couple of days. Just so you know, it's going to go up onto Hidden Wisdom if you're a member of Hidden Wisdom, and we'll talk about Hidden Wisdom later. One of the reasons I wanted to do the talk tonight and the training tonight is because the world is destabilizing, especially if you're here in the US. It's destabilizing on multiple fronts right now, right? Like everything from the economy to our healthcare to the just overwhelming overload of BS that is coming at us constantly and multiple levels. And you all, like me, are multidimensional being. So we're getting hit psychically, emotionally, physically, right? Honestly, we're getting hit in every darn direction. And it's like we're expected to function as if nothing's happening. Nothing's going on. It's all just normal, and it's not normal. If you have been experiencing fatigue, like abnormal levels of fatigue, some of you may have chronic illness, some of you may have anxiety, some of you may be like me and you're coming off of, some heavy duty diagnosis and you're just trying to recover, and you think, but this kind of fatigue that I'm feeling now isn't the normal stuff that I should be feeling. This is worse. I want you to know you're not imagining it. That's first of all. I also want you to understand that things are happening at all levels simultaneously, and our reactions of fatigue are completely normal. A lot of people are going into freeze, which is like, I've been watching people tell me that they feel like if they just woke up and everything, some people that are awakening are like, I just woke up and I don't want to participate in anything. I have no motivation. I'm not inspired. It's not that I'm giving up. I don't know how to move forward. And that's where I started to think I needed to do this talk, because of the fact that a lot of people don't know how to move through this or move forward, right? Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Lily, and welcome in. So understand, please. Welcome in, Rita. It's normal to feel like you don't know how to move forward. And hopefully tonight, I'm going to give you some actual actionable items. This is a training. So I know on live stream, I'm usually very good with keeping up with comments, but there's a lot to cover. This is a condensed version of the talk that I originally wanted to have with you. So it's probably going to roll into several different live streams over the coming weeks. That's how you feel most days. I have no clue. Yeah. So understand that response of not being able to move forward, that is a nervous system response. You know how we talk about fight, flight, freeze, fawn? That's the freeze response, because your body doesn't feel safe. And we're going to get into that tonight, right? Everything is shifting. The ground underneath us is shifting. Everything is changing. Your body feels it, your nervous system feels it, your intuition feels it. So feeling disoriented and sometimes disassociated is a normal, natural response. I want you guys to know that. And tonight is not it's not about pretending that everything is fine. It's about learning how to stay above it, how to stay stable through it. Fighting the system constantly, that doesn't work. That's resistance. Escaping reality doesn't work. Doesn't work. We have to know what's going on. Numbing yourself out, that doesn't work either. What does work, however, is strengthening yourself so that you don't collapse through it. Okay? Even though everything around you is collapsing. So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we jump into it, I want you guys to do me a favor, because I do this a lot of times with my class, my Charm Life people, and any coaching sessions where there's been a lot of tension and a lot of stress. There's a simple way, and you guys can use this at any time you're feeling like you're out of sorts. But to bring focus in, this is a simple tool that you can use at any time. Woke up from surgery a few days ago, the election. Yeah, it is like being on another planet. So do this so that you can be present and so that you can absorb what you need to from tonight. What you don't need, leave it. You don't need to take it with you. But whatever you can use from this, my aim is to give you tools, help you understand why you're reacting the way you are and why your body's reacting the way it's reacting. So first things first, before we get in, take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath and let out the sound ah. Like, and another deep breath in. And I want you to take another one. Just let it softly come out. And then tell me in the comments, how do you feel with that? We did a couple things there. Deep breath slowed your nervous system down. The sound, Om sound, it tones your vibration. It sets a new vibration and kind of resets the nervous system. Did you feel it? Do you feel better? A little more focused? Sometimes we have to do that. Honestly, sometimes we have to do that. Feel better? Good, Carrie. Yeah, just bringing it into focus. It's funny, like how much we don't realize we're holding our breath. And I'll tell you, during times of stress, during times of overwhelm, a lot of times we unconsciously hold our breath. Like a lot. You felt it too. They're saying on YouTube they felt it. Okay, good. We literally can't talk about sovereignty from a dysregulated state, right? So that's why I had you guys do that. And I want you to think about that. You can't find solutions for anything when your nervous system is dysregulated. You can use that tool, literally deep breath. And sometimes your is going to be like, that's cool. Just keep doing it until your becomes relieving, releasing, settling. And it allows you to get back into your body and be embodied. All right. I want you to know, like, I'm not going to teach tonight from a place of theory or the top of a mountain. Much better connection on YouTube, right on. I've lived in my life, in relationships, in family, through a lot of hostile environments. I've also walked people through their traumas, illnesses, financial collapses, their awakenings, right? Walk them through it to the other side where they're stable, they're peaceful, and everything's much better. The work that we do daily in our lives is so important right now because we do need to stay embodied. Disassociating, pitching out, meditating off the planet is not going to get it done the way it needs to. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't unplug. Sometimes you absolutely need to, and we'll talk about that too. But we need to understand first and foremost, because that will settle your nervous system down too. One of the things that I do differently when I work with clients in a coaching capacity through trauma, that I do differently than say some therapists. I like the client. I like you to understand why you feel the way you feel, why you behave or react the way you behave or react, and why it keeps setting up a pattern. Because the first step of change to anything, the first step to shift is awareness. So you have to understand, why do I feel so overwhelmed right now? What will actually stabilize me? And I hope by the end of tonight, those two things come into view for you. And you, during this time specifically that we're in the craziness, living through 2025 and 2026, I will warn you right now, I've been preparing for my 2026 yearly forecast for my Hidden Wisdom members. And if you want to join that, you guys are welcome to. If you have any questions about that, we'll talk about it at the end. But literally, everything I see for the month of January, and I'm not going to pull any punches because that's not who I am. January is going to be an absolute shit show. Welcome to it. And I would be lying to you if I told you it's going to be unicorns and rainbows. I'm not going to lie to you, because forewarned is forearmed. You think 2025, December of 2025, you guys, this month, you think this has been hugely overwhelming? Wait for it. January is going to start with a bang, and it's just going to keep going, and it's going to be overwhelming. So we need to know how to rise without bypassing reality, without panic attacks, without losing our shit. That's what tonight's talk is about. All right. But to do that, we have to know what we're actually up against on every energy level that is affecting us. So the first thing that we have to understand is the matrix. How many of you fully understand what the matrix is? Because to rise above it, you have to understand what it actually is. And I don't mean the movie version of the Matrix, although kind of. The matrix that I'm talking about is the one that we're living here in the 3D. Sticking together as much as possible within our community. Absolutely. Community 2026 is going to be even more important for y'all to stay connected within community. And you are welcome to join mine. And I hope that we all, because a lot of the people in my community, we've been together for years. We've been together through craziness, through the COVID lockdowns, through all the stuff. And here we are. And we're activated. Maybe we're not happy about being activated, but here we are, right? You've got to stay in community, because trying to walk this shit alone right now is not going to help you with the stability part of this. You have to understand that the matrix is the environment that shapes our nervous system, our perception, our survival responses, right? It's not just one thing, and it creates a lot of pressure. The matrix actually works, survives by applying pressure in 3 areas. Okay. Tell me which ones of these that you feel, or which one's the worst. 3 places at one time. Psychological pressure, right? Through fear, conditioning, and then overload. I know all of us feel that right now, between social media, the news cycle, the ridiculous news cycle. Psychological pressure is very high. But then you have emotional, energetic pressure through chronic stress, emotional contagion, right? That's the second pressure level. The third one is economic pressure. You cause instability and you put people into survival, you threaten their survival. Now, you're applying pressure from those 3 main areas. When they are active, your clarity collapses. Welcome in, Stabby Unicorn. It's good to see you. But let me tell you this, all right? Listen, You can't think clearly in the middle of a hurricane. And most people right now are trying to make life decisions inside of a hurricane, like in the eye of it as it's happening. You can't when you're giving into those pressures. You can when you've risen above it. My aim is to get you guys to rise above it. Second and third pressures are the strongest. Lillian saying, yeah, yeah. I mean, the overwhelm's pretty bad, but the energetic stuff, the emotional stuff, it's crazy. But understand, this is engineered instability and pressures on all those levels, right? When people are overwhelmed, when people are exhausted, when they're afraid, what do? You stop trusting everything outside of you at first, but then you stop trusting yourself. And then you go back to trusting only what's outside of you. Dangerous, because you have to be able to trust your intuition. Hurricane's easy compared to what's going on, for sure, right? So this is about gaining your sovereignty by outgrowing the frequency and the pressures aimed to get the collapse to unwind. Lillian saying I call it Bernadette. You're funny. All right. So physical sovereignty is super important in all of this. And I really want you to understand, because in order for us to be able to rise above stuff, one of the most important things, and those of you who have battled chronic illness know this, one of the most important things is your physical body. So if your body is inflamed, if your body is fatigued, exhausted, chemically, biologically disrupted, it really doesn't matter how spiritual you are, you can't rise. You can think you can, but it's so difficult. Think of your body as the hardware, like in a computer, right? Your body is the hardware. Your consciousness, it's the software. But if the hardware is glitching, software can't run. Did that make sense? You guys get it? Your body's the hardware. Your consciousness is the software. Without the hardware working, with it glitching, your consciousness is it's gonna be off, right? It can't run. The matrix weakens your biology first because a depleted body, think about this, can't regulate emotion, can't access intuition, you can't think clearly, and you can't hold a higher frequency. Now you become a prisoner within the control grid of the matrix. This has all been designed. You think they don't know? Oh, they know. They know. And understand this. I'm not talking like you should go to the doctor and take a bunch of medicines. If you do, you do. But understand, Western medicine is good at one thing. I think they excel at one thing, and that's emergencies and diagnostic testing when they do the right tests. But it's not good at restoring vitality. It is not good for curing you or identifying root cause of illness. It's great at telling you, what's broken. It's not good at root cause with a lot of illnesses. Food, minerals, sleep, recovery time. These are not lifestyle trends. Okay? Listen to me. These are not lifestyle trends. These are vibrational frequency stabilizers. You have to have them in order. Food is information. What you eat tells your body how safe it is for you to exist. And I mean that literally. The way you eat and what you eat affects how you feel and whether or not your hardware is going to work at optimum level and the way it's meant to, right? I don't know how much you guys know about computers, but most people know this. If you put a computer, like a gaming computer, in a room without any air conditioning and it gets to 95 degrees, 100 degrees, and it's humid and there's no air circulation, you're going to crunch that hardware. It's going to die. You're going to burn it out. It's the same thing with your body. If you don't give it the things it needs for a good environment, you're going to burn your organs out. You're going to burn your system out. The way you eat affects how you feel, and the way you feel affects how you think. And then how you think affects your perception. And then your perception drives your choices. So the system that controls all of the perception and how you feel, that's your nervous system, right? All within the body. So we have to be aware of that too. You can't rise above the matrix from a dysregulated nervous system. I said that at the very beginning. Your nervous system is the power behind your frequency. Think about it in terms of your nervous system is like whether you're plugged in or you're not plugged in, right? Or are you plugged in and shorting out? And I think a lot of people right now on an emotional and mental level, we are plugged into the matrix and it's shorting us out. Do you ever feel like that? Like, oh my God, I just need to unplug from social media. I just need to get away from everybody. I just need to go in a bath, get my head under the water, and not come out until the world has changed or everybody's gone to sleep. In a lot of ways, you are shorting out. There's just frenetic energy. And that literally means when you feel that way, that your nervous system is dysregulated. So, and that puts you into survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you can't access clarity. You have no access to intuition. You don't understand or know. Thank you, Andy. You don't know what your choices are, right? You've been feeling like that for months, Rita's saying. So it's a matter of bringing it back. Like literally, I will give you guys tips tonight on how to bring that back. The matrix thrives on your emotional reaction. I was telling my people in Hidden Wisdom the other night, you have to think of it like this. Anytime we are triggered into emotionally reacting, we're not responding, consciously responding. We're actually reacting emotionally, mentally, right? We're all worked up. That is like taking your life force, putting it on a silver platter, and handing it to the controllers, the control grid, those in the dark, and saying, here, eat up. Meanwhile, you're depleting yourself. They thrive on that. The matrix thrives on it. Okay. How do you get out of that? You regulate yourself. Regulation of your nervous system is your weapon of sovereignty, stability, sanity. When your nervous system is regulated, you can find solutions. When your nervous system is regulated, you can see the breadcrumbs that your higher self is throwing down for you, that your intuition is speaking to you. When you're not regulated, you're getting information from God only knows where, and it may or may not be misleading, right? When your nervous system is regulated, and this is how you can tell whether you are regulated or not. So you might want to write this down. When you're regulated, your thoughts slow down. Your emotions are stable or neutral. Your intuition is neutral and accurate. And your decisions improve. You don't question them. You make them, and you continually move forward. Okay? So, again, one of the practices you can use to quickly regulate your nervous system is deep breath in. Do it right now with me. Ah. You can say Om as well, right? Deep breath in. Ah. Just breathe and let out the sound. It's always good to get it to the final breath where it's like, and just, thanks for tapping on the screen for the likes on TikTok. All right. Longer exhales tell your body that you're safe. So that is a tool to regulate your emotions and your nervous system, right? Remember this, a safe body can think. Regulating your nervous system is not only self-care, it's rebellion. Literally, you're taking your power away from the matrix and you are rebelling against the control grid. And that is one of the fastest ways for us to rise above it. First thing, take care of your physical body. Watch what you eat. Watch what you put in it. Put in things that are nourishing. Drink water, right? Give your body what it needs. Next, nervous system. Okay? Regulate. Once your body is more stable and you understand where your nervous system's dysregulated, then we go to the next layer, which is emotional sovereignty. Because the matrix doesn't just pull your strings through logic and rational thinking, it pulls your strings through emotion. How do we get it manipulated? Emotion, right? Emotional sovereignty doesn't mean that you don't feel, though. And I want to be clear on that. Emotional sovereignty means that we are in control of how we feel and we know how we feel. Most people think that their emotions are random, and they're not. Emotions are biology, memory, conditioning. So when you feel fear, shame, confusion, anger, hopelessness, it isn't always personal. Sometimes it's going to be your environment. Sometimes it's going to be trauma that was inherited, generational trauma. Sometimes it's collective, right? But we always have to remember that if we're feeling these emotions, sometimes they are being triggered by the control matrix that wants to pull your vibration down. Because if you're controllable, if you're emotional, you're controllable. If you aren't in control of your emotions, then something else is. And honestly, the matrix doesn't control people through information. It controls through emotional activation, and it feeds on it. You easily get distracted. We're talking about how to rise above the matrix tonight. Beso. So this is a whole training. I'm not going to answer a lot of questions until the end, or engage in a lot of the questions until the end. So I want you guys to understand that part of the emotional responses that everybody has, it's kind of like when someone pushes on like a fear button, right? On your internal dashboard, but you think you had it. Like if you're just reacting, it's someone else pushing that fear button. You're not doing it. You think you are, but you're not. There's a lot of that going on with the news cycle. There's a lot of that going on with the laws being passed. There's a lot of that going on with the BS that we're seeing out on the street when the frozen guys come through and snatch immigrants. There's a lot of that. And for like the show that they're putting on that way is meant to make you afraid. Okay? There's 6 emotional hooks that anyone who's manipulative or wants control over you're going to pull. 6 of the most common ones. Fear. Invoke fear. Shame. Guilt. Confusion. Anger. Hopelessness. Different emotions, same outcome. You lose clarity. You lose sovereignty. You lose choice. And then you start to look outside of yourself for answers. The minute you go outside of yourself and you trust someone else above yourself is the minute you're done. You guys get that? Emotion may be what you feel and what your body feels and what it's reacting to, Sovereignty is how you respond to those emotions. And the gap between those two, that is where your power lies. So here's how you can quickly reset when you get triggered emotionally or when you get an emotional pull. Name it. Name what you're feeling from an I am feeling place. I am feeling fearful. I am feeling shame. Name it. Don't let the feelings overtake you. You need to name it. The minute you identify it, it loses a bunch of its power, right? The moment you name it and you stop being sucked inside of it, you become the one witnessing it. Well, witnessing is where you gain your sovereignty. From a place of witnessing is where you have your power. Does that make sense? So I say it like, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling angry. Don't be ashamed of how you feel. Say it. Like I was saying last night in our live stream, if somebody can't handle your feelings, your response can simply be, my feelings are my feelings and they are not up for debate. Like, we're not here to argue about our feelings. We're here to name them, because when we name them, we stop being inside of them and we become the witness to them. All right? You don't control always your first emotional reaction, and that's okay. But you can easily then control your second. The minute you realize you're in an emotional reactive state, now you have the power of choice, right? Your first reaction is always going to be conditioning, programming. You guys get that? Your second is going to be consciousness, intention. So it's okay if you react. Don't beat yourself up. Name it, get out of it. You're welcome for that. Okay, name it and get out of it. Just remember, first reaction when I'm triggered, that is my conditioning. That is my programming. Whether that programming came from society, family, religion, wherever, doesn't matter. It's programming. The minute I recognize that it's programming and that I name the emotion, now I'm on top of it. Now I'm in my consciousness. Now I have the power of choice. What is my intention? See, once emotion stops running the show, you get to reclaim your mind. Because confusion is one of the biggest weapons of this era that we're in. Right? And literally, they're using that weapon all day, every day. Now, mental clarity and discernment is the next thing that we've got to stay on top of, because one of the fastest ways that you will get drained during this really crazy time of chaos, the matrix will always aim to confuse you. Tell me, when you watch the news, when you watch social media talk about what the angry mango did or said that you know isn't true, where does your head go? Aside from anger at the outrage of the lies, where else does it go? Does it or does it not create confusion for you? Even if the confusion is from a place of, why are we allowing this? I don't understand. That is a state of confusion. And when you're in a state of confusion, confusion breaks your self-trust. It will delay your decisions. Yes, because why? Exactly. Yeah, it puts you in a state of fear. Confusion makes people dependent on an outside authority. Roll your eyes. Yeah. And literally, I want you guys to understand this. Most people are not thinking their own thoughts all day. They're thinking thoughts that have been programmed and installed through fear, trauma conditioning and constant input. Okay? There are 3 main ways that you can get your mind hijacked. Number 1, overload. Too much input, too many opinions, too many narratives. Number 2, manipulation from the media, from the algorithms, from politicians. They all use emotional triggers to steer your perception. My first emotional response when you named it Angry Mango, I started laughing. Joy is a good emotion. We got to keep that one. I can't call him by the title of the office that he is sitting in. He doesn't deserve it, nor does he act like it. I refuse. Another act of rebellion. All right. Number 3. So we have overload and then manipulation. And then the third way that your mind gets hijacked is trauma-based thinking. So if you have unhealed trauma within you, that will create worst case scenario loops in your head. It will create survival mode hypervigilance, right? You just get stuck in overthinking and rehashing, being 10 steps ahead. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. You're not informed. You're drowning in all of this stuff. Dirt now, Tony. So here's how we start to reclaim our mind. Number 1, I want you guys to write these down. Questioning, asking yourself clarifying questions is one of the most powerful ways to shift yourself out of being stuck, unable to move forward. So when your mind feels like it's circling on something and you find yourself paralyzed, you're in the freeze mode and you're just rehash. Whose thought is this? And then I want you to ask yourself this: is this my truth? My truth, not the truth. Is this my truth? Okay. Is this fear? Is it trauma? Is it from the collective? So whose thought is this? And is it my truth? Is it fear? Is it trauma? Is it from the collective? That line of questioning, that will break the spell. Truth has a frequency. When truth is spoken, it's quiet, it's neutral, it's clean. It doesn't feel urgent, and it is not panicked. Some people say, well, I'm defending the truth, right? And they go into angry diatribes about shit. That's coming from ego. And while it may hold grains of truth, it doesn't mean it's all going to be true. When someone's emotionally charged, sometimes the emotion's going to amplify, magnify, make things bigger than they are. So when someone's speaking truth, it's factual truth. Like, here's the deal. Like, it's nice. It's quiet. It's clean. When it's not truth, you get sparks of confusion and disorientation. Right? So we have the choice. When our mind's getting hijacked, whose thought is this? Is this mine? Is it my truth? Is it fear? Is it a trauma loop? Is it the collective? Just ask yourself that. Identify it. Okay? If it is yours, then I want you to follow up with this question. Is this beneficial for me to be focusing on? And if the answer is no, then let it go. Write it down, because the brain needs you to store it somewhere safely or it will haunt you. Write it down, put it on a note on your phone, whatever. Tell your brain, I will deal with this later when I have time, and then move on. Okay? Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder or longer. It comes from making a choice. And that choice is always going to be, what's my next step? Not what's the end result? What's the big picture? What's the next step? Okay. A lot of people are like, I need to know 10 steps. No. What's the next step? That's all you need to know. So let me ask you, see if you guys are paying attention. How do you get out of it when you're in that chaos of your head and your mind's been hijacked? What's the final question you're going to ask yourself after you figured out whose thoughts they are? I'll give you a hint. It has to, the last word in that sentence in that question is step. Is this beneficial to me? Yep. Right before you ask the final question, and there it is. What's the next step? If you question, you're like, is this beneficial for me? And it is not for you to be focusing on, then you choose to let it go and then ask yourself, what's the next step? One step, not 10, not 20, not a week from now. One step. Okay. So the next thing I really want to talk to you guys about is the layer that collapses people the fastest. And I think a lot of you would agree. And that's economic instability, right? Because when survival, our day-to-day survival feels threatened, the nervous system will go right back into a state of fear and survival mode. Yes or no? Honestly, you know that they're attacking every one of these things right now. Our emotions, they're attacking our minds, and they're going after our money. Right? Economic stability is one of the fastest things that you can take from somebody and then you control them. How many people do you guys know have stayed in relationships far too long that were abusive because they couldn't leave? Their finances weren't there. It's not just your partner that plays with that. This government is playing with that all across the board. And I'm not kidding when I say your economic stability is part of your spiritual stability. If your finances are unstable, your nervous system is unstable. If your survival feels threatened, everything around you feels unsafe, right? And if you're drowning in pressure to find the resources to keep you going, don't you think your frequency is going to drop? Because it does. But we have to talk honestly about money, right? Survival, the economy, because economic pressure is one of the strongest forces pulling people into fear right now and keeping them there. Absolutely puts everyone in survival mode. No matter how much you want to believe that you're above it, if you can't feed your children, yourself, your animals, and don't have a roof over it, you don't feel safe. And I want you guys to be clear because spiritual people sometimes get this one wonk. Like, really, like a lot of spiritual people are afraid to talk about money because materialism and greed and capitalism. And that's not what we're talking about. I know this world is capitalist. I know that's what's causing all of these problems, right? We're capitalist driven. We're not people driven. But that's another talk for another day. However, it isn't because you're materialistic that someone threatens your survival, your financial security, that you go into fear and panic if it's not there, right? Especially when you work your butt off to do what you're supposed to do. Yeah, exactly. It isn't because you're materialistic though. It's because we all aim to make sure that we're taking care of our shit and that we are being taken care of. We want to feel safe. Don't we all just want to feel safe? Housing's unstable right now. Jobs are disappearing. Costs are rising. People are living one emergency away from their own personal collapse. And that isn't fear mongering. That is me stating the facts. And you can say it's a Democratic hoax all you like on national TV. But the numbers of lived reality, not hyped reality, say that these are the facts. So it's not a mindset issue. And I really want you guys to be clear about that. Right now, we're not talking about mindset. We're talking about engineered scarcity from the matrix. And I get that I'm a spiritual mentor and all these things. And I know that the love and light crowd would love to tell me, oh, you just have to rise above. I'm telling you how to practically rise above it. Boots on the ground. Not a bunch of meditate your way out of it bullshit, because that is bypassing. Right? It is the facts every time we all go to the grocery store. But when someone doesn't ever shop for his own groceries, he can easily say, oh, grocery store prices are down. When was the last time you were at the grocery store? Have you ever been to a grocery store? That's my next question. Just saying. Right? So let's just lay that one down, though. This is not about mindset. This is engineered scarcity. And we can't talk about rising our frequency, rising above the chaos, when someone's terrified of losing their home. You can't talk about using your intuition when you're in survival panic. The two don't go hand in hand. One's a very low vibration, intuition's higher vibration. Spirituality that ignores what's going on and how to survive, that isn't wisdom. Again, that's bypassing. That's why we're having this conversation. My hope is for you guys to hear someone who's been around this stuff her whole life, who's been helping people for over 2 decades, working on the 3rd decade right now, tell you it's okay to talk about this. In fact, the more you name it, the more you're aware of it and where it's coming from, how you feel, what your struggles are, the easier it is to rise above it. Right? So we have to have these talks. The financial stability is spiritual stability. It's not luxury, it's not excess, it is stability. Because when your basic needs are met, your nervous system relaxes. When your nervous system relaxes, clarity returns. When clarity returns, creativity returns and opportunities start showing up. So we need to get to that place where we can get the doors of opportunity opening and become creative. And the current economy right now, it feels like a rip current. So if you've been feeling all the things we talked about in the beginning, right? You're not looking for someone to blame. No. We talked about in the beginning being overwhelmed and just feeling totally disconnected and oh my God, right? That's because of this engineered chaos. People are working harder than ever and not moving forward. In fact, a lot of people are working more than before and they're 4 steps back. The mistake that we would be making, though, is fighting with that current, right? If the current economy feels like a rip current, we don't want to fight that current. Sovereignty comes from stabilizing internally first and then moving forward with intention. So the 3 moves that we make, 3 moves, is to stabilize first. Okay? Before you build anything, you have to stabilize. That means reducing chaos, stopping energetic leaks, getting clear on what actually matters. And then I'm not saying you should shrink your dreams and don't have any hope. No, when you stabilize, you give yourself a foundation to build those dreams upon. Second thing we need to do is shift to resourcefulness. It is not on Substack. No, sorry. Think about it. Even if the economy is shrinking, and it is, your own resourcefulness has not. Your skills, what you know, what you're capable of, matter more than your resume. I'm going to say that again for those in the back, or those of you who maybe like are zoning out or you're scrolling someplace else while you're watching this. Your skills, your resources are more important than your resume. Your adaptability, and this is huge, so write this down. Your adaptability is your wealth. Your ability to respond creatively, no matter what's going on, is your currency. Got it? Whoever asked me about Substack, it's going to be on YouTube for 72 hours. Denise got it. Bingo. 1,000%. Yeah. Your ability to respond creatively is your currency. You're not limited either to just one identity, one income stream, one version of yourself. Get outside of the box that they put you in, that this matrix shoved you into and said, do this for the rest of your... No. No. Bust out. If you guys want the summary of this and learn how you can watch the replay of it, this will, for those of you who are in my monthly $40 a month membership, where I do coaching, forecasts, and have thousands of dollars of on-demand classes, $40 a month, this is going to be in Inside Hidden Wisdom for free. After 72 hours, I am going to pull it off of replay, and it's going to be a paid $5 enrollment with the series once all the series is done. So if you guys want to watch it over and over again, any of you that want community, want help, want guidance from someone who's been at this helping people for 26 years now, go look at my Hidden Wisdom community. $40 a month. That's all it is. I'm literally going to join our community and be a part of the monthly coaching and all the other stuff that I throw in there. So I was telling you the three things, 3 moves just to get yourself more sovereign through all of this financial insecurity, right? Stabilize first, shift into resourcefulness. Third one, use your intuition practically. It's not a mystical thing. Intuition is strategic. This coming from a clairvoyant, right? This coming from a clairvoyant. I'm telling you, it's not about being mystical, outer, off the world thing. It's strategic. And when your nervous system is regulated, your intuition will guide timing. Your intuition will drop breadcrumbs. It will give you direction. It will open you up to seeing opportunities that are for you, that are right in front of you. But when you're in fear, it contracts your options. When you're in clarity, it expands them. You can't receive either from a place of fear. Money responds to clarity. Hey, Marta. Money responds to clarity, not to fear. It runs from fear. It responds to grounded confidence, to presence, not panic. Economic instability is real, right? It's real. But collapsing within the economic uncertainties that are going out in the world is not inevitable. There have been multiple people through all of history who have thrived during economic collapse. I was one of them during the 2008 collapse. I had friends that shut their businesses down in 2008, left, right, and center during the crash. My business thrived through it. Why? Because I didn't get into the fear mode. Literally, none. In fact, I built a garage during that time. People were like, why are you spending money? And I'm like, because I'm fine. And when you get into the place where your nervous system's regulated and you're level and you're even and your intuition is plugged in, you are fine. And that is the point of all of it. Be guided from your higher self, not the matrix. Disconnect from the matrix, not from self. I see people doing exactly the opposite. I see them plugging into the matrix and disconnecting from themselves. We need to remember, you need to remember, you're more adaptable, more creative, more capable than the system that's tightening around you. And I'll remind you again, sovereignty doesn't mean you're going to ignore reality. It just means when reality comes, you're going to meet it with clarity, not fear. And when you're in that place, you can receive more. Opportunities come. Sorry, I need to turn my air conditioning on. It's getting humid in my little office. Now, once you stabilize your survival layer, something powerful starts to happen, right? You start becoming a stronger version of yourself. So then we have to talk about identity, because who you become, who you choose to be, determines what you can sustain during a time of collapse. Set boundaries. People are pushing boundaries these days. Absolutely, they are. Absolutely, they are. To rise above all of the matrix, economically, emotionally, spiritually, something has to change at the deepest level of you. Okay? You've got to become, I don't even want to say someone new, but sort of a different version, a higher version of you. Someone the old system can't control. And what's trying to control all of us right now is an old system. There are those of us who are going to build new systems, create what's on the other side of this shit rack. But we can't do that until we become versions of ourselves outside of this system. You cannot remain the same and rise out of the chaos and be stable. So we have to talk about identity, because identity will determine your frequency, and the frequency will determine your reality. And we've talked about the body, we've talked about the nervous system, the emotions of the mind, financial survival, right? But you are at the core of all of that. Who you are being is at the core of all of that. And it's easy to forget that because we are trained to look outside of ourselves, right? We are trained to look at what's happening in the stock market. What's neighbor Joe over here doing? What's ICE doing? What's happening with, like, outside of ourselves? We're trained to fall for the distractions, right? The matrix doesn't just trap you because of circumstances and within your circumstances. It traps your identity too. It puts you in a box, shrinks you in that little box. And if you believe that that's all you get to be in this life, you will be trapped, completely snagged. But identity isn't who you truly are. Identity is who you've had to become to survive up until this point. And identity can always change. Most people's identity, if they haven't really intentionally, consciously worked on it from a higher level, haven't cleared their traumas, healed their traumas, their identity was formed around fear, around those traumas, around family expectations, around social programming and conditioning, and stress. And we think that our identity is us, but it's not. That's not your essence. That's your adaptation, right? And a lot of our adaptations are outdated. They will hold, right? Your habits follow your decisions. Your reality follows your habits. So when people say, I keep getting pulled back, I keep getting sucked in, I just don't have any willpower. It's not lack of willpower. It's your identity is stuck in the old system. So we need to extract our identity out. We need to intentionally choose who we are going to be, not based on the rules of the system, right? Not that. Based on who we say will be. The system will have to bow to us at that point. But we have to shift our identity. Otherwise, it's like trying to run new software on a computer that has an old operating system. Like trying to put a new operating system on top of an old operating system, expecting no glitches. It'll crash. And we have to understand too that there are typically two identities at play. The conditioned identity, the one that was shaped by fear, by religion, by scarcity, by people pleasing, by self-doubt, right? That was your identity that wasn't chosen. It was installed. Nothing wrong with that. It's who you had to be to survive up until this point. But then there's the sovereign identity, the part of you that is calm, confident, clear, intuitive, grounded, self-trusting. Plugged in, tapped in, turned on, tuned in. And that's not something you achieve. That is something you remember and you embody. Got it? Identity shifts don't happen because you repeat a bunch of affirmations. They happen because you make a choice. You notice where your old identity is running the show. You interrupt it, right? Recognize that's the old version. You adjust. First, your body, stand taller, breathe deeper, ground, get calm, make one new decision from the new identity. You don't change your identity by thinking differently per se. You change it by choosing differently. Identity is your frequency. Your old identity vibrates at survival. New sovereign identity vibrates at the creation level. Let me repeat that because that is a magical key that unlocks it all. Your old identity that was shaped by programming, that is vibrating at the level of survival. Chosen sovereign identity vibrates at the frequency of creation. That is where you become the creator. And when your identity shifts and your frequency shifts, right? Reality always follows. So it doesn't matter what's going on out there. You're above it. You can see it. You can be a witness to it. You're not reacting to it. That's how we rise above the matrix. We don't fight the old world. We become someone that the world can't control. With the fear, with the bullshit, with the chaos, with the emotional hooks, right? That's how we do it. When identity stabilizes, when intuition becomes clear, we have our keys in our pocket to unlock all the doors we need to unlock. We have to be able to access that intuition, right? Without fear and without fantasy. That's a big one. Really big one. I want you to understand though, like who you're becoming in this place of taking your sovereignty back, rising above the chaos. The final layer of that is learning how to live your life, lead your life from a place of plugged into your higher self with intuition, not from fear anymore, not from trauma, not from conditioning, but the cleanest, clearest part of you. Does that make sense? Put in the comments. I'm saying Bernadette. What? Whatever. You guys got it? Good. Cool. All right. So once we've rebuilt the foundation, which we just talked about how to rebuild your foundation, your body, your nervous system, your emotions, the mind, getting into a place of stability, thinking about money differently, and then choosing your higher level identity, not the survival one. Then we move into intuitive leadership, not psychic fantasy, not bypassing, not emotional whatevers, right? Intuition. Because intuition is intelligence at its highest level, a quieter intelligence, a steadier intelligence, and it's actual wisdom, not information. It's the part of you too that sees all, knows all, and isn't afraid, right? Intuition is that calm, neutral knowing that comes online when your system is regulated and when you're in a much higher level. And that's why the work that we have to do on ourselves is always layered. Because again, if your body's unstable, intuition distorts. If your emotions are chaotic, intuition gets drowned out. If your mind is overloaded, intuition gets misread, or you are leaning too heavily on your rational mind, you just turn it off completely without meaning to. Intuition is your compass, right? But that compass doesn't work in the midst of a hurricane when we're blowing all about with our emotions and letting our minds get carried away, right? Your intuition as a compass will work when you're calm. That doesn't mean that there can't be storms going on in life. There's always going to be storms. But intuition operates as a compass when you are calm. When you're calm, that compass works. So there are 3 inner voices that a lot of people confuse. And I've trained up a lot of psychics and done a lot of growing your intuition. It's part of the things that are in the Hidden Wisdom portal as well. But there are 3 things, three inner voices that people confuse. Anxious thoughts. Sometimes they think that that's intuition. But those are thoughts that are loud, they're urgent, they're catastrophic. That is not intuition. Desire-driven thoughts that are emotionally charged, that are attached to an outcome, to a person, right? That's not intuition. True intuition it's neutral emotionally. It's quiet. It's simple, almost too simple, and it's steady. If something comes through and it feels pressured, it feels panicked or forced, it's not intuition. Unless, there was one time I was walking on the side of a road, me and a friend of mine, we were doing some prayers, and literally I heard a voice out loud yell, jump in the ditch, and then I felt a pressure, unseen pressure, like someone was standing next to me and they weren't, push me to go into the ditch, literally that far. A Mustang was flying down the road that we were walking on the side of, missed me. Had we not jumped in the ditch, I have no doubt he would have hit us. I wrote about it in my book. When it's like that urgent, that's a different story. But when it's like, oh my God, I got a message from my intuition or from spirit, from the angels, whatever, and you're like, I have to do this, and it's panicked. When it comes through, and believe me, I've been using my gifts professionally for 30 years. When it comes through and it's Intuition, it's so calm and matter of fact. You're like, huh. And then you want to ask why, because that's the rational mind and the ego kicking in. But when it's that calm, I was just going to say, it's different for me because I feel it. Some people will feel it, but intuition, when it's truly an intuitive message, it's going to be calm. For you, I mean. And I don't go out farther than a year because too many branches happen, right? I'm like, I'll look at it, but I'm not going out farther than a year because inevitably you're going to screw it up. For real. I'll tell you what the end appears to be if you make no changes. And I'll tell you the next step. Because that's how intuition operates. Nothing's written in stone. We are constantly making choices that change things. See, the matrix always overwhelms us with the how. Intuition always guides us with simplicity and just gives us the what. But when your mind kicks in, your analytical mind kicks in, right? You start asking, but how? How? And that just puts you into a fog. And we don't want that. When your intuition kicks in, you will see the next step once you take the step that you've been guided to. It's like that. Okay? If your intuition feels blocked, sometimes it's your nervous system. Sometimes it's a matter of thinking too much. But I want to tell you this. In order to rise above the chaos, when you lead your life through and from intuition, your decisions are cleaner, your timing of things happening improves, your energy stabilizes, your life and your frequency become way more coherent. And that's how we rise above it, not by escaping the world with the love and light stuff. Move through it with clarity, not fear. Right? That's how we do it. So we're just going to bring it all together for tonight. Like I said, tonight I condensed it. We've already been here for an hour. So we're just going to go over what we've covered. I'll come back after the holidays and we'll talk about it more, maybe next Saturday. Because this is a huge, this is the stuff I teach. This is the stuff I take people through in my Charm Life 1-year program. But you guys get me one-on-one once a month in Hidden Wisdom if you want to be part of Hidden Wisdom. If you really want to do the deep dive through your traumas and get your intuition let's go every single week with me and learn all the tools, come into Charm Life. If you want to be part of the community and have access to on-demand classes, go into Hidden Wisdom. Start there. $40 a month. Like anybody can afford that. It's your personal development and it's worth thousands of dollars. It's got all kinds of different programs in there on demand. Keeping ourselves reminded of what it takes, doing those things, following through, having community, all super important on this path, right? Super important to not isolate. But even if you guys don't come work with me, you have me on live stream whenever I come on. I just can't do the deep dives that I do in my containers. In my containers, I'm not censored. I don't have to watch the words I say. And I don't. Because, yeah. You get it? All right. We have to integrate and embody all the stuff that we have learned, that I've talked about tonight, right? The body, feeding yourself the proper fuel, what your body needs. If you're sick, getting that stuff handled. I do all of this. That's why I'm an integrative healing practitioner. Biomagnetism therapy, Rife therapy, health coaching, supplements. I understand how to heal the body from root cause. Trauma, focusing on getting you through your traumas, giving you the tools to keep regulating your nervous system while you work through your traumas without re-traumatizing yourself, because we have to deal with the body, we have to deal with the nervous system, we've got to control the mind, we've got to get out of scarcity mode and survival mode and into that place where we're thinking resourcefully from the creator mindset, so the opportunities, we can take advantage of them, right? And we have to lead with intuition. And this work isn't about adding more to your life. I want to be clear about that. It's about returning to yourself. It's about being clearer, steadier, and more embodied in who you really are, not who the world told you you were and continue to tell you you are. Sovereignty and becoming your higher self isn't something that we chase. It literally is something we build layer upon layer upon layer. Someone just left a comment on YouTube. Good luck, lady. Get more cats. Good thing I wasn't watching the comments. When am I live? What platform? Right now it's TikTok and YouTube, and I'm broadcasting everywhere right now. So follow me on YouTube for sure, because TikTok has been sold and the platform changes hands on the 22nd of January. So yeah, cats though, I know. People are they're hilarious. Like, you came and caught 5 minutes of a presentation and okay, cool. Anywho, so make sure your body, we'll just cover it real quick. Number one, start with your body. Biology that's unstable, everything wobbles, right? You're more susceptible for falling for all of the overwhelm and all the bullshit. You need your energy. You've got to regulate your nervous system daily. You've got to work with your emotions, not against them. You've got to reduce any kind of mental noise whenever possible. Create that level of safety and survival for yourself. And I mean physical, financial survival. Create and step into your higher identity, your higher self-chosen identity, away from the survival identity. And then stop trying to see the whole path. Just take the next step. Use your intuition. These are not rules. Let me be clear about that. These 7 things are anchors to help you create a foundation to get above the chaos. All right. So to bring it all home, and then we'll get into a Q&A if you guys want to ask questions. Take a deep breath, because that was a lot. It was a lot, and you guys stayed present. Take a deep breath. Put your hand right on your chest and just ground that in. Like, sometimes when someone's delivering a lot of information, if you take and squeeze your wrists, it will literally helps you to ground the information and embody it, to integrate it. Right? Thanks, Mr. Andy. So let me remind you, and then I'm going to open it up, whatever questions you have. If there's something I covered you aren't clear with, you can ask me. But I just want to leave you all on a high note. I know shit is happening like crazy making. And like I said, I'm already preparing my 2026 yearly forecast for my Hidden Wisdom group. And I know January is going to be a little bit of a shit show, more than even December and November were. And I know we think it can't get any worse, and then it does. I'm just telling you, I'm not giving you a fluffy report. If you are in Hidden Wisdom, we're going to dive deep in that. If you're not in Hidden Wisdom, you can cancel anytime, go join it, right? You've got to remember that you have more power than they want you to believe. You're not here to collapse with the old systems that are collapsing. You are the kind of person that is able to build from a foundation that you choose. You can lead yourself through uncertainty, right? Sovereignty doesn't mean that you're going to do it alone either. It means that you are supported in your self-leadership if you're part of a community, right? And if you're not, and you're going to go integrate it on your own, do it. Good. But if some part of you feels some inner nudge and you're like, what is this hidden wisdom? Let me start there. If you've never worked with me before, $40 a month. You have nothing to lose. Literally. Trust me. Just the first time you log in, you'll get your 40 bucks worth. One coaching session monthly, show up live, and they're all on replay. So you don't have to show up live for those things or the forecast, but just saying, 40 bucks. You're part of the community. You have access to all that stuff in the vault. And there's a lot. All you have to do is go to the link in my bio. There's a place where it'll say join Hidden Wisdom. It'll take you to a page that tells you all about it. If, though, you want to go deeper and you literally want to shift into that higher place with support, and you know that there's a lot you need to heal, there's a lot of misconceptions, misalignments, and you want someone to walk you through it, a mentor, join my 1-year program, Charm Life. And then for those of you who are like, I can't do a group program, fine, come work with me one-on-one. I have openings right now to take on a couple more private clients. So those are your options. Whatever you choose, whatever you decide, go on your own, come work with me at some level, right? I want you to hear this. This is the beginning of like reorienting to the fact that there is chaos. We can't ignore that. Now, how do I build a foundation beneath me? Use these tools and understandings to keep myself above it. You all have what you need inside of you. Unfortunately, what's inside of us gets hijacked purposely all the time. Authoritarian regimes and the matrix, how do they control you? By confusing you, by taking away your stability, by lying to you, by isolating you, and by confusing you. I'm telling you, there's always a way above that. So, anyone have any questions for tonight's talk? I gotta put my plug my phone in. Hold on. You've got to be kidding. It does not. Oh, stop it. Cool. I will be back next Saturday for sure. Just for whoever decides. I will try and make Saturdays like a normal thing, even though it's the holidays. This is going to be weird. I just plugged my phone in and I'm trying to get it so that my health is really good. Yeah. I actually just had my annual this week and my doctor's like, your health is solid. So, yep. All right. So whoever has to go, good information. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm going to log off on YouTube. I want to thank you guys on YouTube though, and on Facebook who joined. You guys are amazing. I see a few of you chatting. We got a lot of people watching on YouTube. Interesting. So thank you. The replay will be on YouTube for the next 3 days, and then I'm going to pull it down. If you're in Hidden Wisdom, it will be up for replay after I edit it a little bit. So look for that replay on Monday or Tuesday. You guys have a good one over on that other platform.